Alright, so what is up, YouTube? Today's video is going to be me playing random duels with this really cool kid. Unfortunately, the audio for some reason in the video is like non-existent, so I had to go back and record it through the Fortnite menu, and it's a little laggy in some places, so bear with that. However, I thought this would be a great opportunity to tell you guys a story. So, yeah. The story I want to share with you guys is the story about how I met one of my best friends to date. So we were in grade 7 at the time, and in grade 7 we were divided. It was like our school had 3 floors, so it was an upstairs, a main floor, and then the basement. So in the upstairs, it was half grade 6s and half grade 7s. So we had half of the grade 7s upstairs, and then in the very basement, we had the other half of the grade 7s. So this became a rivalry, especially between classes and teachers. It was basically upstairs versus downstairs. That's literally what ended up happening. We literally had a rivalry with sports, competition, stuff like that, right? However, one day, me and a couple of other guys decided that we were gonna do upstairs versus downstairs, where we would have fights, like friendly fights, sort of say. Take in mind, I am, from the hood, so we found fun in whatever we could find fun in, right? So the biggest thing though was that this rivalry now and all the fighting that we did became really, really serious and really aggressive. But it led to a lot of funny and crazy moments. I remember one of the craziest moments that happened was we got into a fight outside of the school area, and we had 3 cops roll up randomly. We didn't even see them coming. Started rolling up and started arresting grade 7, started arresting kids and putting them on the floor, on the pavement, right in front of the school. We knew it was getting too serious once that happened. But back to the story I originally want to talk about, meeting my friend. So, like I said, we were divided. I was a part of the downstairs grade 7, so I was always in the basement. All my classes were in the basement. I never had to go upstairs. So one day, we're all having this big brawl, just a big brawl outside in the courtyard, and out of nowhere, this random guy, this random kid, I'm not going to say any names obviously, but this random kid comes up to me and he just starts trying to get at me, right? Starts trying to fight me. Take in mind that I love to fight. I was raised to fighting. I was raised in a bit of kickboxing, some taekwondo, stuff like that. And I knew how to fight. I knew how to take care of myself. But the craziest thing was this guy that kept coming at me. He kept trying to obviously beat me up, but he wasn't winning any of the fights. Any of the pushes that he made, he wasn't winning. So I just remember knocking this guy down 4 times before he eventually stopped trying to get me. And out of nowhere, he was he comes up to me after the fights and he's like, "Man, you're pretty strong, you're pretty good." And I'm like, "Yeah, and you're pretty weak." Me being the prideful downstairs grade 7er, right? Yeah, and this guy for some reason was just smiley, happy with me, and I'm just what the hell, who's happy after getting beat up? And it turns out, man, that this guy and me ended up becoming best friends. We were still fighting each other because of the rules of the grade upstairs versus downstairs, but we were playing basketball together, we were talking about stupidness, we were chill. It was awesome. However, like I said, it still was upstairs versus downstairs. But it's from then on, we created a pact where we wouldn't fight each other anymore. So that was pretty awesome. But yeah, this guy, he just kept at it though. We talk about it to date now, and it's amazing how not only were we able to get through all of that, but we were able to talk about it. And yeah, and so this became a really solid friendship that we have now. Of course we've had problems after, like, you know, like what kind of best friends don't have problems with each other eventually, right? Me and this guy, we're like family now. Like, I know so much about him, he knows so much about me. We've seen each other's like darkness, fucking the light, all of that shit, right? But yeah, the whole point of this was, it's crazy how something so serious became like something so awesome. So I don't promote fighting, obviously, right? I'm not trying to say, you know what, that's how you find your best friends, you know, go out and fight. No, nothing like that. It's more just, I'm just happy that that happened so that we could get to where we were eventually, you know what I mean? Back to this whole upstairs versus downstairs stupidity though. It was really serious. Like, a lot of the fighting ended up becoming very personal. So there was a lot of even rivalries amongst like random people. And I don't know, I can't speak for others when it comes to why they fought, right? I fought because it was literally fun and we were bored. Like, that's literally why I fought. But I feel like a lot of other people started fighting because other people that they knew were getting involved. And, you know, that ends up becoming something totally different. It's no longer just fighting just to fight. It's now, you know, fighting to completely create a problem, to be a hurtful person, right? Now, obviously, I was one of, like, I wouldn't say like leaders, but I was one of the people that I was one of the guys that people took seriously when it came to fighting. Of course, my friend could be a total testament to that. But yeah, it was this whole, like, it became like a war. Like, all of a sudden, kids were getting suspended. Kids were going home with like black eyes and cuts, and yeah, a lot of us ended up getting worried, you know, like, because what eventually was just, you know, like fighting in secret areas on the fields were now becoming brawls inside the school, and even in like public locations. I was involved in a fight, you know, I'm not proud of this obviously, but I was involved in a fight at a convenience store outside of, like, not even close to the school. It was just a couple of upstairs people. Like, this was being treated almost as a gang now. Like, it was 100%. Like, people were, like, I don't know how many of you remember like MSN Messenger, but even people were like putting in their bios on MSN Messenger upstairs or downstairs. Like, even girls that weren't fighting were putting like upstairs versus downstairs. So yeah, this rivalry became now a problem, obviously. So we were getting called down to the office on a regular basis. We were told we were gonna get our lunches taken away from us. We did get our lunches taken away from us, obviously. But yeah, it was this whole mess. It was just a mess now. But I think the real downfall of this whole thing was, there was this one kid that, he was from downstairs, he went upstairs and he got absolutely like they destroyed him. He was just walking apparently through upstairs, and they murked him. Like, they really got him. You know, and that's where the principal, that's where the whole like school drew the line, because this was going on for months, by the way. This wasn't just, you know, like it happened for a couple of weeks and it was over. No, this was literally from, I think we started in like November. Like, it was right before winter, and then we ended right before summer. Like, that's when it finally like started to calm down. The reason I know this is because, one, I was involved, and two, because we actually had our camping field trip taken away from every grade 7. Like, no grade 7 now was allowed to go, because it was no longer just the boys fighting. It was all grade 7s now were a problem. Like, we took it from everyone, this fighting and this violence. And everyone knows that camping trips only happen around the summer, right? So of course, when it happened, like, we got a lot of hate for it, obviously. Like, I don't mean, when I say we were fighting, I don't mean we were just fighting like on school property. We were fighting, like I told you, like random stores around us, random, like the library around us, the community parks, like everywhere. We were choosing random places to fight. And I know for a fact that there was people who didn't even like go to our school, like people who didn't have kids that went to our school, or even people that, you know, cared for anybody at our school. They were still like talking about, we weren't allowed in stores, we weren't allowed in some of the stores. So it's serious when like people who have nothing to do with the school are letting the school know, hey, you know what, your kids were over here fighting, because we did have uniform at the school that I went to. So it was easy to actually say, hey, you know, your kids are over here, because they knew us from the uniform. Our middle school was the only middle school with uniform. With that said, however, I'm not gonna lie, we felt like gangsters. Like we felt like we were untouchable, because at the school we went to, I don't know about schools now, but there was this thing called initiation. So the older kids would pick on the younger kids, and it would not vice versa, but they would pick on the younger kids because, you know, it was easy to get at them. None of the grade 8s or anybody wanted to mess with us. So we felt like we were on top of the world. Like it was such a good feeling to know that we could go outside and not have to worry about nobody else wanting to bother us because we were involved with the upstairs versus downstairs grade 7 wars, right? With all that said though, this was it was fun, but it was also a tough year considering all the fighting we did. But it was also great to learn like who your real friends were, who was there with you to ride or die no matter what, no matter who you were fighting. Now, what I mean is not like go out and fight your friend, go out and fight somebody to find your friends. What I mean is you really find your friends through all these troubling times. You find out who's really loyal, who's really going to be there for you, even when, you know, stupid things like upstairs versus downstairs fights happens. Some of my best friends actually now, were involved in that. Of course, I made really good friends after this as well, but the friends from that time I'm still super close to, and it's because of all the stupidity. It's because we grew from all these dumb things that we did. And honestly, I wouldn't take that for the world. So, yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. This has been a Tenacious Story. You know, I'm gonna be doing more of these. I really enjoyed doing this. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, it took me a while. The reason though is because I'm still trying to find out like how to like fix everything into a story like properly, you know. So yeah, thank you guys for listening. See you guys in the next one. Peace.